Everyone ought to have one in theory, and in practice people's lives are often quite complicated nowadays, so it's always a good thing to have a think about it and to consider it, but particularly you need to think about it if you have significant financial assets. So when you buy your first house, especially if you buy it with someone you're not married to, you need to get organised. If you inherit something from a relative, you need to think about things. And family life nowadays is so complicated that it's a good idea to have it in place. I mean, I always say your will is just what it says. It's what you want, not what other people are second guessing you want after you've died.
Many people worry about moving into residential care later in life. Will they have to sell the house to pay for the care? What happens if the money runs out? Will there be anything left at the end of the day to leave to the next generation in their will? These are all very topical issues and something that I think recently has had a lot of political and press attention. The Dilnot report, for example, has recently been published and has given recommendations as to how, in future, residential care should be funded by both the state and the individual. The rules can be quite complicated. Generally speaking, if a person has assets of over £24,500, they have to pay for their care. Below that, however, it is possible to apply to the local authority for assistance. The rules, however, can be fairly complex, and so if in doubt, it's very sensible to see a solicitor who operates in this area at the same time, for example, as reviewing your will, putting a power of attorney in place, and so on. In terms of protecting assets from the cost of future care, this can be a very complex area and it's not something to be entered into lightly. There are quite a number of firms out there who aren't necessarily qualified nor regulated who are selling schemes with this in mind. There are certainly schemes you can enter into, and Andrew & Co has been advising on them for upwards of 20 years now, and so we do have significant experience in the area. But as I say, it can be complicated and it's not an area that would be free from challenge in the future.
Well, a power of attorney is a document in which you appoint somebody else to deal with usually your financial affairs, though there is a special type of power of attorney that authorises somebody to make medical decisions for you in case you're too poorly to do so yourself. We can certainly help you, but how we deal with it depends a bit on the circumstances. Either you can bring your aunt in to see us, or we can go and see her, or you might want to pop in for a quick word with us first. And then we can have a bit of a chat about the family and general background and decide how to approach it. Well, I need to ask you for some detailed information, but we'll deal with that in a minute. First of all, do you need any help with dealing with the practical side of things? People vary, but if you've not lost anyone close to you before, you might not know how the system works, so do you need any help with that? Otherwise, what we say to everybody who rings us in these kind of circumstances is you need to come to see us, but when you come is up to you. People seem to have an urge to come in straight away, and if they want to do so, that's fine. Usually you need a death certificate, preferably, before you come to see us. But if you'd rather leave it till after the funeral, when you've got all the practical stuff sorted out, that's equally fine. But whichever course you choose, don't hesitate to give us a ring if you get stuck with anything.